Be reading out the NIV. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. That's verses 1 through 3. Verse 4. In him was life, and that life was the light of man. The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness has not understood it. There came a man who was sent from God. His name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning that light, so that through him all men might believe. He himself was not the light. He came only as a witness to the light. The true light that gives light to every man was coming into the world. He was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. Yet to all who received him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision, or a husband's will, but born of God. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Continue.
Back up, what verse is that you said, born of God?
13.
Read 13.
13. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision, or a human's will, or a husband's will, but born of God.
Right. Okay. Now, John.
I can't see a thing.
John 1. I want to repeat. John 1 is the key to understanding who God is in the Bible. John 1. I cannot guarantee that all of us will appreciate it at the same time, but if you sit long enough and if you meditate long enough, it will begin to have meaning. And all I want you to reach, here's all I want you to do, is reach an understanding in your bosom as best we can as human beings. How awesome God is. That's all. I'm not trying to get some intellectual understanding of God. I almost don't even want to talk about it. God is that awesome. Now turn to the book of Hebrews, 1st chapter. It is so important for us, in order to appreciate that Jesus Christ is the God of the Old Testament. The only way that we can really appreciate that is we got to understand only begotten. If we don't understand only begotten in a spiritual sense, then none of this that we are trying to see with our spiritual eye makes any sense to our spiritual thinking. We are out of the, we're not even dealing in the natural now. We are trying to understand that in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the Word became flesh. So we know that that's Jesus. Now look at Hebrew 1. Look at the language. This is King James language. God, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made what? The worlds. Everything was made by his Son. Verse 2 says that he appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds. By whom? Who is whom? Jesus. By whom? Jesus. He made the worlds, who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high, being made so much better than the angels, as he hath by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. And look carefully at verse 5. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son? In other words, God never said to the angels, none of the angels did he ever say, you are my son. This day have I begotten thee. And again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. He never said any of that. It's all a question. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee, and again I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. Does everybody understand that? That's a question. He's saying that he never said to any of the angels, you are my son, and I'm your father. Never said that to any of the angels. And again, when he bringeth in the first begotten into the world, he said, that let all the angels of God worship him. And of the angels, he said, who maketh his angels spirits and his ministers a flame of fire. But unto the Son, verse 8, he saith, thy throne, O God, is forever and ever a scepter of righteousness, and the scepter of thy kingdom. Thou hast loved righteousness and hated iniquity. Therefore God, even thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. And thou, Lord, in the beginning hast laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the works of thine hands. They shall perish, but thou remainest, and they all shall wax old. But to which of the angels said he at any time, sit on my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstools? None of them. Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation? Second chapter, verse 5. For unto the angels hath he not put in subjection the world to come, whereof we speak. All these verses and chapters are leading us chapter 3 all the way to chapter 4, and then we finally get to 4 verse 14. Seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Jesus the Son of God, let us hold fast our profession. Now back in chapter 1, when it said, which one of the angels has he said, thou art my begotten son? None of them. None of them.